Ever wondered if she's secretly into you, even when she's already taken? This video decodes the 10 hidden signs women show when they're emotionally drawn to a man. From subtle changes in voice to body language and deep eye contact, discover the forbidden signals of attraction most men never notice. Psychology-backed and instinct-driven, this guide will shift how you read every interaction. Watch till the end for a powerful bonus sign that reveals everything. When a woman is secretly attracted to you, one of the first and most subtle signs often comes through her voice. It's not about what she's saying, but how she's saying it. The tone, rhythm, and texture of her speech shift in a way that's hard to fake and even harder to hide. Around others, she might speak clearly, sharply, or even with a bit of emotional distance, especially if she's trying to maintain a professional or composed image. But with you, there's a noticeable difference. Her voice may become softer, warmer, slower, or more melodic. There might be a gentle lilt, an almost sing-song quality, or a breathiness that feels like she's letting her guard down without even realizing it. This isn't something most women do consciously. It's an unconscious biological response rooted in emotion, chemistry, and attraction. Studies in behavioral psychology have shown that when a person, especially a woman, feels emotionally or physically drawn to someone, their voice naturally adapts to become more appealing. It becomes more inviting and soothing, often reflecting a desire to build connection or emotional safety. This change is most visible in group settings. For example, you might notice she's composed and businesslike with everyone else, but when she speaks to you, there's a shift in her demeanor. Her speech flows differently. She may laugh more easily, even at things that aren't particularly funny, not because of the joke, but because of how she feels in your presence. Laughter, in this context, becomes a form of bonding, a subtle way her body communicates comfort, enjoyment, and openness. And if she's the type who rarely shows emotion, the change becomes even more significant. The key isn't in comparing her to other women, but in comparing her to herself. Does her voice change only around you? Is there a softness in her words, a slower cadence, a warmer edge? That's not a performance. It's instinct, speaking louder than intention. The voice becomes a reflection of how safe she feels, how emotionally available she might be, and how deeply something inside her is responding to your presence. When a woman is secretly attracted to you, she often expresses it not through direct words or overt flirting, but through subtle and deliberate changes in how she presents herself physically. These shifts in appearance are rarely loud or obvious. They're nuanced, almost invisible unless you're paying close attention. It could be something as simple as wearing a new scent, one that's soft and alluring, and just noticeable enough for you to catch when she walks by. Perhaps she wasn't into perfumes before, but now there's a delicate fragrance that lingers in the air when she's near you. Or maybe she suddenly starts applying lip gloss more frequently, refreshing it just before you meet, or adjusting her hair with a casual elegance. Her clothing might change too, not dramatically, but intentionally. She may wear outfits that are more fitted, subtly flattering, or touched with colors you once mentioned looked good on her. It's not that she's trying to impress the world. Her choices are calibrated, refined, and seemingly meant for an audience of one. When you're around, she becomes more polished, more put together, and her style begins to reflect a heightened sense of awareness and confidence. These are not random acts of vanity. They are instinctive responses rooted in a primal desire to be noticed and appreciated by someone she is emotionally drawn to. Women who feel a connection will often prepare themselves differently for that person's presence, even if they won't admit it outright. It's a psychological drive to stand out, to be remembered, and to signal interest without words. Look for the small things, the way she checks her reflection when you walk into the room, the way she adjusts her posture or smooths out her clothing. These micro-behaviors often occur unconsciously but carry a significant emotional charge. Even her body language changes, standing taller, tilting her chin slightly upward, walking with more grace or poise when she knows you're nearby. In places where comfort usually overrides style, like the gym or casual meetings, you'll still notice the effort she puts into her look when she knows you'll be there. These changes might be dismissed by others as normal grooming, but if they align specifically with your presence, they are almost certainly deliberate. The intention isn't to attract attention broadly. It's focused, subtle, and often emotionally fueled by her feelings toward you. These signs reveal a kind of coded language where beauty becomes a means of emotional communication. Another deeply revealing sign of hidden attraction is her consistent desire to be near you, even when there's no logical reason for it. Physical proximity is one of the most primal indicators of emotional interest. When someone wants to be close to you, they find ways to enter your physical space repeatedly, often without making it look intentional. You'll begin to notice that she appears in places where she never used to be, at your favorite cafe, taking the same gym class, suddenly interested in walking the same hallway route, or showing up at events she previously skipped. This doesn't mean she's following you, it means she's gravitating toward you emotionally and letting that pull influence her behavior. You may not even speak every time you cross paths, but her consistent presence in your environment speaks volumes. She may not consciously realize she's doing it. It's instinct pulling her in your direction. What makes this sign particularly potent is how subtle it can be. In a group setting, she might shift her seat to be closer to you, or stand just a bit nearer than necessary. When conversations end, she lingers. When you leave, she seems to appear wherever you've moved. It's not that she's inserting herself forcefully. It's that her emotional energy is magnetized toward yours, quietly, steadily, persistently. You'll also sense it in the way she positions herself, body turned slightly toward you, feet facing your direction, or simply always within your line of sight. These signals aren't coincidental. They are emotional markers of desire wrapped in routine behavior. Sometimes it's not just about being physically close, but about being emotionally available. She listens more intently when you speak, responds with heightened presence, and maintains a silent but attentive awareness of your movements. She may laugh a bit more easily when you're near, or react quicker to things you say compared to others. These are subtle but consistent signs that reveal her attraction through action, not speech. Her presence in your orbit isn't casual. It's calculated by emotion and guided by an unconscious hope that you'll notice what she doesn't feel free to say aloud. Subtle physical touch is one of the most potent yet understated signals a woman uses when she's secretly attracted to someone, especially when she's trying to hide her feelings or maintain boundaries due to an existing relationship. These touches are never loud or exaggerated. They're often so fleeting that if you're not paying close attention, you'll miss them entirely. But the body never lies, especially when it's being guided by emotion, rather than logic. You might feel her hand brush yours in a crowded space, or notice that she lightly touches your arm when she laughs. Maybe she reaches out to pick lint off your shirt, or touches your shoulder in passing. These gestures, though brief, are packed with emotional significance. They serve as gentle, subconscious attempts to form a physical connection without breaching the social or moral boundaries she's trying to maintain. She may tap you lightly to get your attention or playfully nudge you when making a point. These aren't empty actions, they're her way of creating emotional anchors. Touch activates the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which deepens emotional ties and builds a sense of closeness. Even a small, seemingly innocent graze has the potential to trigger warmth and connection between two people. What makes these touches even more meaningful is when they are repeated across different contexts. If she consistently finds reasons to touch you, whether in celebratory high fives, momentary brushes of your arm, or casual pats on the back, it's no longer coincidence. It's a pattern, and patterns reveal intention. One of the clearest ways to understand this is by reversing the situation. Try lightly touching her arm during a conversation and observe her reaction. If she quickly pulls away or creates distance, it may indicate discomfort. But if she lingers in that touch or mirrors it later by initiating contact herself, she's signaling a level of comfort and attraction she isn't vocalizing. Women use touch as a way to test emotional safety and to create private moments of intimacy in public settings. These touches are often disguised as friendly or social, but the intention underneath is layered with emotional subtext. She may touch her own body as a projection, playing with her hair, rubbing her neck, or fidgeting with jewelry when you're near, as a way to displace nervous energy and attraction. These micro-touches are her body's unconscious way of communicating feelings she's ready to express aloud. If you begin to recognize and track these physical interactions, you'll uncover the emotional current running beneath her composed exterior. Touch is the body's language of closeness, of connection, and in the case of secret attraction, it's often the only language that dares to speak. When a woman is secretly into you, one of the most revealing indicators lies in how her overall demeanor and behavior shift specifically around you. Most people have a baseline personality, a consistent way of carrying themselves around friends, colleagues, and acquaintances. But attraction disrupts that rhythm. It introduces emotional static, causing someone to act out of character in small, often unexplainable ways. With her, you might notice this change gradually, but once you become aware of it, it becomes difficult to ignore. Maybe she's typically composed and articulate, but around you, she becomes more animated or a bit scattered. She might stumble over her words, laugh more than usual, or fidget with her hands or clothing. These little disruptions aren't signs of nervousness in the general sense. They're signs that her emotional state is heightened in your presence, that you affect her in a way others don't. Alternatively, she might go quiet. A woman who is usually lively and expressive may become more reserved, contemplative, or even awkward when she's around you. Silence in this context isn't disinterest, it's restraint. It's her mind trying to suppress what her emotions are beginning to leak. You may catch her adjusting her clothes when you enter a room, tucking her hair behind her ear repeatedly, or playing with her necklace. These unconscious gestures are her body's way of channeling the energy that builds up from being emotionally stimulated. Some women will attempt to regain control by teasing, being overly playful, or cracking jokes, anything that helps them manage the emotional intensity without revealing it directly. But it's the contrast that matters. Watch how she behaves with others. Confident, relaxed, maybe even a bit indifferent. Then notice the change when she interacts with you. Her voice might soften, her eye contact might intensify or become more evasive, and her entire presence might feel more emotionally attuned or reactive. In conversation, she may suddenly start asking deeper, more thoughtful questions, veering off from surface-level chat to more intimate and revealing topics. She might seem more present, as though her focus sharpens entirely when you're speaking. Her reactions to your comments will feel more intense, whether it's laughter, surprise, or emotional empathy. These aren't standard social responses. They are emotional cues, slips in the facade, moments where her feelings sneak past her controlled exterior. It's also common for her energy to fluctuate. One moment she might seem playful and light, the next a little distant, almost as if she's trying to recalibrate and regain emotional control. This inconsistency is a sign that her feelings are active and that she's wrestling with them internally. When someone disrupts another's emotional equilibrium without trying, it's rarely without meaning. These behavioral shifts, no matter how small, are signals. They're not designed to be noticed, but they become impossible to miss once you understand their significance. She's not trying to make herself obvious, she's trying to protect what she feels. Yet her body, her energy, and her emotional rhythm betray her. The difference in how she interacts with you compared to everyone else is the space where truth lives, where attraction, despite her best efforts, reveals itself again and again. When a woman is secretly drawn to you, one of the most telling signs is in her eyes. How she looks at you, when she looks at you, and how long she holds that gaze. Eyes are often referred to as the windows to the soul, and in the context of hidden attraction, they become an even more powerful tool of unspoken communication. Unlike words, which can be measured, rehearsed, or masked, eye contact is raw and instinctive. It often happens without conscious thought and is governed by deep emotional and psychological currents. When a woman is attracted to someone, even if she's taken or trying to hide it, her eyes will seek you out more often than not. She may glance at you when she thinks you're not looking, only to quickly look away the moment your eyes meet. That sudden flicker of discomfort isn't boredom, it's exposure. It's the rush of being caught in a moment she wasn't ready to explain. There are also times when she won't look away, when your eyes meet and hers linger just a second too long. That extended eye contact creates an electric pause in the conversation, a shared moment suspended in silence that says more than words ever could. It's not about staring, it's about presence. It's about how fully and openly she allows herself to look at you, without filters, without distraction. Her gaze might soften, her pupils may dilate, and there's often a vulnerability that passes over her face. Brief, almost imperceptible, but unmistakably real. These are involuntary reactions. They aren't calculated. They're hardwired into our nervous systems. Prolonged eye contact stimulates emotional bonding and can even increase levels of oxytocin, the hormone responsible for connection and trust. In short, the longer she looks at you, the more emotionally invested she's likely becoming. But beyond the duration and frequency, there are other layers to look for. Does she watch you even when someone else is talking? Do her eyes light up when you walk into the room? Do you ever catch her studying your face during moments of silence, or paying extra attention to your reactions when you're sharing something personal? These subtle shifts in focus are often clues that her interest goes far beyond a casual observation. In some moments, her gaze might drop, not because she's not interested, but because the intensity of the connection feels too exposed. When a woman is secretly attracted to you, one of the most meaningful ways it reveals itself is through the depth and direction of her conversation. Casual interest stays on the surface. It hovers around predictable topics like the weather, weekend plans, or simple compliments. But when a woman begins to feel emotionally connected, even if she doesn't fully understand or want to admit it to herself, the nature of her questions shifts. She doesn't just want to talk, she wants to know. She starts asking about your values, your past, your dreams, and your fears. She probes into your motivations, your regrets, and the parts of you that most people overlook or never take the time to uncover. This curiosity isn't academic. It's personal, it's emotionally charged, and it stems from a place of wanting to truly understand the man behind the exterior. She might lower her eyes to deflect that emotional charge, to keep her feelings contained. At other times, she might glance at your lips instead of your eyes, especially when the conversation grows emotionally intimate. That shift in focus is a deep, primal indicator of attraction, one that most people miss. And then there are the micro-expressions, the fleeting flashes of emotion that pass over her face so quickly they're barely noticeable. A quick widening of the eyes, a raised brow, a slight squint, or even a softening around the corners of her mouth. These aren't rehearsed. They happen faster than thought. But they tell the truth. A woman who is emotionally neutral doesn't display these involuntary responses. They're reserved for moments of emotional engagement, and they often arise when she feels exposed, surprised, or quietly thrilled by your presence. You'll feel it too, not just see it. There's a difference in the energy of a gaze that's polite and one that's emotionally charged. One makes you feel acknowledged. The other makes as you feel seen, and being truly seen is one of the most intimate forms of connection. Her eyes may never say the words, but they often speak first, and they almost always speak honestly. When a woman is secretly attracted to you, especially if she's trying to keep it hidden or even deny it to herself, one of the clearest emotional giveaways comes in the form of jealousy, specifically micro-reactions of jealousy. These moments are rarely loud or theatrical. They don't usually involve arguments or possessive behavior. Instead, they unfold in tiny, fleeting expressions, shifts in tone, or subtle changes in demeanor that surface when you mention another woman. It might be a quick pause in her speech, a flicker of tension in her smile, or a slight drop in her tone when she asks, "Oh, who is she?" On the surface, it may seem like a casual inquiry, but emotionally, it's loaded with curiosity, insecurity, and suppressed feelings. She's not just asking about the other woman, she's trying to understand where she stands in relation to her. So if you've picked up on these subtle signals, the soft voice, the quiet presence, the small touches, the deep questions, the lingering glances, and those fleeting sparks of jealousy, know this: you're not imagining it. Attraction doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers through behavior, hides behind routine, and slips out in moments she didn't mean to reveal. Whether she ever says it out loud or not, the signs are there for the man who chooses to observe, not assume. The truth isn't always in her words, it's in what she does when she thinks you're not watching. And once you learn to read these silent cues, you'll never miss real interest again, even when it's hidden in plain sight.